Thank you for staying with us tonight. We focus on a tragic development out of Borno State, where the devastating impact of terrorism has once again left a deep scar on local communities. A fresh attack believed to be carried out by Boko Haram insurgents has claimed the lives of at least 63 people in what is being described as one of the deadliest assaults in recent months. The attack, which targeted civilians in multiple villages, underscores the ongoing security challenges facing Nigeria's northeast, despite continued military efforts. Now let's bring on Dr. Stephen Okwori, security consultant, strategist, fellow Nigerian Army Resource Center, to help us with some insights on this latest attack. Good evening to you, Dr. Okwori. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me once again.
Thank you. I mean, I'm very glad to have you on the program tonight. 63 lives have been lost again in Borno State. Please let me have your assessment of the nature and scale of this latest Boko Haram attack in terms of tactics and impacts. Does this signal, or does this attack signal any shift in Boko Haram strategy or when it comes to capabilities?
Yeah, thank you for having me to give my perspective on the recent attack by Boko Haram in the northeast region, particularly in the community in Borno State. Let me start by saying that my condolences to the families as usual, because we will not stop giving out or sharing our sympathy with the victims of this dastardly act by Boko Haram members in the northeast region of Nigeria. Terrorism is a global menace, and an attack on one nation is an attack on another nation. So what that means is that we expect that nations should come together, either in collaboration or in synergy, and cooperate to see how to confront this common enemy, right? What we witnessed in Borno in the last couple of days with regards to the 63 deaths, including some soldiers, is disheartening. And unfortunately, this is not new. We are aware of the issues. We are aware of the challenges. For how long can we continue like this? If you look at the last Global Terrorism Index of 2024 that was released in this 2025, you will discover that Nigeria is ranked 6th in the Global Terrorism Index in a survey that was carried out amongst 163 countries. Right. Now, what that means is that Nigeria is 6th amongst the most affected nations that has to do with terrorism. The fact is, these issues are not new. What effort are we making as a government, as security agencies, to see how to address these issues? Number one, I discovered that a lot is not adding up, right? Because unfortunately, we are doing the same thing and we're expecting different results. What are we expected to do differently? A lot of soldiers, a lot of military personnel and police are killed by these criminal elements that are in the line of duty, to see that we sleep with our two eyes closed, right? But we're not getting the desired result, So, we are talking about Nigerians here that go about their lawful businesses, that are innocent citizens, women and children, and being killed. We've received or heard our president talked about or giving directives to our military, police, and other law enforcement agents to see how to confront this common enemy. He has used words like, you must have to fish them out, you must have to smoke them out, you must have to crush them, right? But with what we are seeing, are they crushing these criminals? Are they crushing these criminal elements? That's the question in the course of our conversation we need to talk about.
All right then, Dr. Okwori. But, given the recurrent nature of these attacks, what does it say about the state of intelligence gathering and preemptive measures in the northeast region? Are there gaps in community-based intelligence, or is the issue more systemic at the national level? I say this because, some people have said when there's need to act, and you don't, these are the consequences.
Now, you agree with me that these crimes happen in our rural communities or semi-rural communities. hardly do we see them in our urban centers or our urban communities. Now, you also agree with me that this crime happen in these rural communities where we don't have security presence, right? When you go to these rural communities, you won't see the presence of police, you won't see the presence of the military, unfortunately. And you agree with me also that we don't have enough manpower. We have the manpower within the military that is about 230,000. We have the manpower within the police that is less 400,000. And we're talking about Nigeria with vast land, Nigeria with a population of over 230 million people. Now, how do we now begin to address these issues? We are talking about intelligence gap, which of course we are lacking in intelligence, whether we like it or not. We have the DSS that their duty or responsibility or mandate is to see how to come up with local intelligence. But unfortunately, the DSS that we have now, they are more interested in VIP protection, right? So there's already a gap in that regard. How do we now close that gap? We are talking about criminal elements that go to our rural communities, right, where Nigerians are killed for just no cause. So what's this gap? Now, do we have any local structure that is on ground that can come up with local intelligence to be able to help in complementing the efforts of our security agencies like the military, the police, and all that? We don't have that. Though sincerely speaking, we don't have that. Now, do we need to come up with a local structure that needs to come up with local intelligence that should be able to collaborate with our other conventional security agencies and all that? Yes, the answer is yes. We need a local structure to be on ground, to be able to confront these criminal elements. We have a situation where these criminal elements take this battle to our military bases and all that. You agree with me that not too long ago, within 48 hours, 4 military bases were attacked by these criminal elements? So it goes to show that there is no community engagement because these criminals come through these local communities to be able to confront or attack our military bases or attack our citizens that are either going about their lawful businesses or they are deep in their sleep. These guys come to confront them, kill them. How do we address this issue? That is number one. We must have to go local. I've said it times without number, we must have to go local. How do we go local? We need a local structure to be on ground, to confront these criminal elements. Do we have that local structure on ground? The answer is no. Do we need to have such local structure on ground to be able to confront these criminal elements? The answer is yes. Do we have such local structure that we need? The answer is that we need.
You're talking about, please pardon me, this local structure you're talking about, is it in terms of intelligence gathering or operations?
In terms of intelligence gathering and operations as well. Okay. We need that. Yes, we need that because if we don't have that, we cannot address the issue. And why do we need local intelligence in terms of intelligence gathering and operations? Is because these criminals come with the information that they have. They know that we don't have security presence in these communities that they come to attack. Do we have any local structure that confronts these criminal elements? The answer is no. And that is why I've said it here in your studio that Mr. President is one president from the president we've had since 1999 to date that is aware, that has become aware of the situation that will need a structure such as the Nigerian Forest Guards, which of course he gave approval for the establishment of Nigerian National Forest Guards or so. But Mr. President, I don't know if he's aware, but I need to put it to him that there's already a bill before him that he needs to assent to, such as the Nigerian Forest Security Service that's already on ground, that the 9th and 10th Assembly, gave approval for its establishment. And right at this moment, I expect a synergy between the legislature and the national and the executive for us to see that bill that is supposed to establish the Nigerian Forest Security Service come to fruition. Because this organization, from my research and from what I found out about them, is that They are conversant, they are aware of the issues bordering on security that has to do with forests, you know. Are they on board? Do we need to bring them on board? Do we need to integrate them into the national security architecture to be able to address these issues? Yes, we need them. Some Nigerians will come with the narrative that we don't need to establish more securities or structures or organizations. But with what is happening, we will need them to come on board. If you look at what happened yesterday, the 9/11 attack, before 9/11 attack, we didn't have what is called the Homeland Security, the Homeland Defense Security. But when the Osama bin Laden struck in the U.S., George W. Bush saw that there was need for us to have what do you call it now, the Homeland Defense Security. And from 2001 to date, you will see the effect of or the impact of Homeland Defense Security in the U.S. So we need a local structure for us to be able to address the local insecurity issues within our rural communities, right? And that is why we need organizations such as the NFSS, because these criminal elements use these forests as hideouts, they use it as safe haven, they come, strike, kidnap, take their victims into these forests, keep them as long as they want to keep them.
All right, then,
so
Dr. Okori, because it looks like you agree with Governor Zulum's comments on the numerical strength of the Nigerian army. While I ask for your professional assessment of that claim, how big is the gap between the Nigerian army's available manpower and the demands of fighting insurgency across multiple efforts? Now,
just the way I said we have 230,000 manpower within the military. How effective is that number? Is it significant as far as I'm concerned here? Is it very insignificant? Because you cannot have 230,000 military when we are talking about a population of over 200 million persons in this country, and imagine the way Nigeria is as a country. They will have vast ungoverned spaces in this country. Now, when we have that number, of course, we need to increase on that number. But you are aware, or you agree with me, that the Nigerian military is not enough to see how to address these issues. We need something like what I said, an organization or a local structure that needs to support what our conventional security agencies are doing. Now, you made mention of Governor Zulum. I recall, or I remember in his interview, he talked about National Forest Guards that they have hired or recruited. They have gone through a process of training. And they are also training them, yes. Now, which organization is that? Because from my research, I am not aware of any local structure as that, the National Forest Guard. If we are talking about the National Forest Guards that I know that was established about 95 years ago, since 1930, what impact have they made in terms of addressing national security issues? The answer is that we haven't seen the impact, because if we had seen the impact of the National Forest Guard that was established about 95 years ago, we won't have a situation where the criminal elements are using our forest as hideouts or as safe havens to perpetrate acts of criminality on Nigerians, innocent Nigerians that are going about their lawful businesses. So what I expect now is that we should not expect that issues bordering on national security should be within the purview of the National Forest Guards or within the purview of the
we're not clear about that. We're not clear about that, Dr. Okori, because it says he had a meeting with the NSA, and the NSA approved the Forest Guard force. But let's stay on that. How do you think this force can be integrated into Nigeria's broader security architecture? How do we go about it?
Beautiful. Now, we have a National Forest Guard that has been in existence since 1930. That's about 95 years ago. We have seen that they don't have an impact. We are not feeling their impact, whether we like it or not. Because the fact is, if we are feeling their impact, bordering on the issues we are talking about, the criminal elements that are perpetrating havoc or catastrophe on the citizens of this country won't see the forest as safe haven or hideouts where they carry out acts of criminality, go into this forest, regroup and come out and carry out these acts of criminality on our people. The point is, we have an already existing structure known as the Nigerian Forest Security Service, that I expect that the federal government should look into that body, right? Because just the way I said, in the 9th and 10th National Assembly saw the relevance, saw the importance of such local structure. Recently, they carried out some zonal trainings and show of force within the six geopolitical zones in Nigeria, right? We have seen the effort that they are making in trying to see how to address these issues to support the conventional security agencies we have in the country. What I expect now is that Mr. President, the National Security Advisor, should look at this Nigerian Forest Security Service to see how to call the hierarchy or the authority there. Let us see what you have. This is an organization, for instance, that the police has commended, the DSS has commended, the military also has commended, because they have gone through rigorous training by these security agencies. So for us to get it right, security, we don't have its presence in our rural communities and semi-rural communities. We have presence of this Nigerian Forest Security Service in our rural communities. The best thing for us to do is right now is to see how to integrate them into the national security architecture, right? Because we are procrastinating and Nigerians are being killed. 63 persons killed some couple of days ago, almost 50 persons or more killed in Katsina some months ago or weeks ago.
All right, Dr. Okori.
151 persons killed in Benue some couple of months ago.
All right. Do you think you're being a bit harsh on the Forest Guard force? Because I know some security experts who have warned the federal government about deploying under-trained personnel against heavily armed militants. And according to them, this could escalate violence. And I'm sure they were talking about the Forest Guard force. In this case, how do you advise on how to manage this risk?
Life in itself is a risk. Risk is part of our culture, right? Because each time we wake up, we are prone to risk as human beings, as security agencies or as security agents. How do we now see that we put ourselves in a better perspective or a better position? I expect a synergy. As it is, I expect that what the government should do in a way of advice, because as I'm in your studio right now, I already know the issues, I know the challenges. Are we putting modalities, are we putting framework in place to serve as solutions to the issues, right? Because terrorism is over a decade, kidnapping for ransom is over a decade, banditry activities is over a decade and all that. What are we doing to see that we address these issues? It is not by gun power alone. We need intelligence, we need robust community engagement, we need to engage local security structures or organizations. If you see the work that the civilian JTF is doing this in the Northeast, you will appreciate them, because without them, the military will not succeed in what they are doing, right? So why won't we as a government see that the already existing Nigerian Forest Security Service that has been on board, that its establishment was approved by the 9th and the 10th Assembly, should be adopted by the current administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
All right, then.
One of the reasons why we're experiencing security issues in the Northeast and Nigeria at large is because there are no jobs. If we adopt the Nigerian Forest Security Service, it will go a long way in creating jobs. People that are idle, able youths that are idle can be engaged. Just the way I said here some months ago, the civil defense that was adopted by the president, by the what's his name, Obasanjo's administration. Bola Ahmed Tinubu can also adopt the Nigerian Forest Security Service to be able to address these local security challenges that we have in our rural communities.
Dr. Okori, because of our time, Mr. President has reiterated that the creation of state police is no longer optional rather, but a necessary step. If this proposal succeeds, what safeguards should be put in place to ensure professionalism, accountability, and neutrality of state police officers? In 1 minute or less, if you can.
Yes. Well, state police is a welcome idea if states that are viable enough to be able to handle state police, right? Because from what I have discovered, there are some states that are not viable enough in terms of payment of salary, addressing some logistics, training and equipment. Nigeria, the federal government is still being confronted with addressing federal police issues or challenges, right? I know that some states are viable, but there are also some other states that are out there that are not viable enough, you know. And beyond that, there are also some fears that stakeholders that have exhibited in the area of state governors hijacking, using it as a tool to challenge or to take on the political opponents or their critics, right? But the fact is, do we need state police to address our security issues or challenges? We're talking about national security here. For me, I think that there's need for us to bring a local security structure on board, because when it has to do with national security issues, we need the federal government to see how to head such body, you know, so that our governors and other political stakeholders will not use it as a means or a tool to go after political opponents here.
Thank you. I mean, our thoughts tonight are with the families and communities affected by this senseless violence. You know, as the nation continues to grapple with the threat of insurgents, the need for lasting peace and security remains more urgent than ever. Dr. Stephen Okwori, security consultant, strategist, fellow Nigerian Army Resource Center. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And that marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Good night.